Welcome back. The SX Nifty is indicating that we'll have a gap down once again. Remember, yesterday's gap down was bought, but that was because, it was after a 2-day decline and it sort of coincided with the Nifty testing the 20-day moving average. So from that point, perhaps it was more algo in nature. It will be interesting to see what happens today. But Deven Choksey is with us from Krchoksey Securities. Deven, hi, good morning. Thanks a lot for joining us. Deven, let's first address perhaps the biggest stock in news this morning. NDTV, if you looked at the events, if your view on the stock, if not maybe on the entire media space, what would be your view?
Yeah, good morning. Well, I think for any large conglomerate, I think the media business, I think, is a strategic fit, as we all understand. And I think this is where probably the intention seems to be from the Adani Group as far as acquisition of NDTV is concerned. Normally, I think these kind of properties, they do take time to get developed. And I think this is one important, area where I think the corporates are able to put their attention to. So I think fortunately, I think you have few companies there basically, I think they have created the brand in the market, I think, which are basically available, I think, for somebody to acquire. And that's where I guess I think this particular transaction has happened. In my viewpoint, I think we do not know the game plan as to how it is going to unfold. How exactly, I think they will probably use broadcasting media and the internet media, and probably I think use the content for driving the business. That part I think is not very clear to me at this point of time. But as I would think, I think any property, I think, which has got significant amount of presence in the markets, in created groups, I think, as far as I think the viewership is concerned, I think those media properties could possibly be finding the buyers, at least from the conglomerates, I think we find this kind of business is a strategic fit into their portfolios.
Deven, hi, good morning. What are your thoughts on Reliance? Because, there's this AGM, of course, that's coming up. A lot of brokerages have scaled up their target prices on the stock as well. What can one expect? And in the run-up to the AGM, would you buy the stock or would you put more money in the stock?
Well, good morning, Sanya. Reliance continues to be buy on dip story, and I think any fall in the price during any correction, I think, is a good opportunity to buy into the stock. Having said that, I think this year probably the company will be in the vicinity of around 1,30,000–1,40,000 crore worth of EBITDA. And it is continuing to grow at around 20–25%, at least I think in the new generation of business like Geo platform, and even 15% kind of growth is in retail as well. The conventional O2C business, I think this year has been, I think, extremely good for the company, along with the exploration business. So from that perspective, I think this year is going to be a bumper year as far as I think the outlook on the profit is concerned for the company. So this is one point I think which will probably get validated in various announcements, I think, which might come up in the AGM. On the other side, the 5G integration is basically becoming a key issue. And that is where probably I think some words of I think direction will probably be coming out, wherein how exactly the 5G will be playing out. My understanding is that I think it is likely to probably I think score maximum on the enterprise side of the solution. And that's where probably I think you are likely to see the larger amount of revenue from the business coming in from 5G related implementation. And last but not the least, I think the larger play is also on the side of new materials business. I think how much progress the company has made and what are the further strategies in place, I think that could possibly get announced in this AGM. So yes, I think given the annual report in which I think a lot of coverage has happened, I would think that I think these are some of the points on which the market is keeping an eye on. And let's wait and see, I think, what exactly it would be. But overall, I think the Reliance remains, I think, a structural buy to answer your question. And any correction in the price, I think, is a buy opportunity as far as the stock is concerned. We continue to believe that this is, I think, around 25% kind of an appreciation provider on a yearly basis, at least for the next 5 years. That much visibility is currently seen in this particular.
Deven, hi, good morning. Any thoughts on these tier 2, tier 3 banks which are making a comeback? RBL was up 6% yesterday. IDFC First Bank was up 6.5%, and a bunch more.
Hi, Prashant. Good morning. My understanding is the corporate side of the lending has started picking up. And that is where probably I think some of these banks have to talk about higher amount of business, which up till now I think they have not been, I think, having that situation. This year seems to be a turnaround year for the banks as far as corporate lending acceleration is concerned. And this is where I think probably some of these banks who have been languishing for a long time are now basically finding their recognition. Having said that part of it, I think some of the larger corporate banks, I think they also want to look at some of the mid-size and smaller banks to get integrated into, I think, their businesses because of the need to create the larger book size at the same time, and at the same time the larger reach, I think, from the perspective of, I think, building a liability franchise. So this is where probably I think some amount of strategic buying and interest would come into some of these banks. Fortunately, in many cases, the banks are available at I think valuation which is comparatively much lower, and that's where I think the strategic buyer may find interest into some of these companies. I have not studied RBL enough, so I think we'll refrain from answering RBL related point. But in general, I believe that the corporate sector banks, the private sector, I guess I think are right in position. The likes of HDFC talking about doubling the size of the AUM in next 4 to 5 years time, or even for that matter, even ICICI quota kind of banks, I think growing at around 20% kind of a growth on the AUM building. So I think they are being relatively more interesting from the investment point of view.
Okay, all right. Just stay on, Deven. We'll come to you in just a few minutes from now. Now, global markets